KSW.
BJ, we're all big, huge fans of our next guest. I'm very glad to have him in studio.
But if I see two gay guys in the audience go, excuse me, are you gay guys? And I'll go, guilty, because gay guys love being gay. The word gay comes from happy. They like men so much, they've called it happy. I have been a heterosexual my whole life. I would not call the experience happy. I would call it a struggle at best.
Please welcome to the show, Jim Jefferies.
Oh, thank you. That was a very odd clip to pay. I've done a lot of radio shows and heard a lot of clips of myself. I don't know who chose the gay material.
I think that's the funniest stuff in the world. I love that clip.
Look, I'm all for it. I wish I could be gay, but the only reason I couldn't be gay is because I could never have sex with a man, because I could just never have sex with something that I respect. That's what makes it tricky for him. See, that joke is what I call an awkward car ride home. You say something like that in front of an audience, there's always like some guy driving home with his wife going, no, I laughed at what joke? What? That doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, definitely have to assess the situation on what you're laughing at if you're bringing your woman to a Jim Jefferies show.
Joe, I have to ask, man, I don't know if you're in a relationship or not, but I have been married for 27 years, and I am that one guy that never got it through my head that if I would just shut up and go out to the garage, I would have a happier marriage.
Sure. Well, I'm dating a girl at the moment, which is going all right. I actually started seeing a girl who played the prostitute on my FX pilot. Right? I tell a story a while back about me taking a friend with muscular dystrophy to a brothel, and we made a pilot episode for FX, which still might be going to season, but we're just waiting to hear what's happening on that, so I can't say too much. But the girl I'm seeing at the moment was the girl who played the hooker on it. And there's nothing better than introducing your girlfriend to everyone. I met her when I employed her as a prostitute, and being accurate. And she never gets tired of that joke. Oh, she loves it. Oh, yeah. I never get any bad stares at that one.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Hey, that's and that's great. I love FX. That's a great network. So that if you can get a pilot on that, I think they got good TV there.
I think after the Louis show, I think they're more open to comics doing what they want on television these days. So
is the price right? Because Louis told us as long as the price is right, because they always complain it's too much to do a TV show, and Louis has said I do it for real cheap, so they'll at least take the show.
We're doing it. I'm doing it for I think a little bit less than what Louis is doing, and I've split the writing credits with another person, so I'm earning even less than he is.
Perfect.
But I'm doing it with a guy called Peter O'Fallon, who directed Suicide Kings, and he created and directed what's the show The Riches with Eddie Izzard.
Oh, there's some good. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So he knows what he's doing. He directed like 17 episodes of Northern Exposure. I never saw the show, but evidently it was very popular.
People liked it.
Yeah, Northern Exposure was a fun show. And of course, we know Up Here is where they basically did the show.
Yeah, was it? Oh, I know that in the last season they got rid of the Doctor and brought in Paul Provenza, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
So, and Paul's a friend of mine. I always remind him he's been a lead in one show and it died right away.
And when does that ever happen when that's good? Where, you're bringing, outside of some British shows like...
MASH did it.
Well, who did they replace?
Wait, what are they replacing MASH? What are you talking about?
Who they
BJ Honeycutt. He's got the same name as you, for F's sake. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I have to tell you, I never...
Major Burns, he was gone. They brought in the bald bloke who liked classical music.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
They took out Colonel Potter.
That's
they put
right.
in Colonel Potter and took out the other Colonel. Yeah. The only person who remained in the show was Hawkeye. They even got rid of Radar, and they made Klinger the actual receptionist. That show got rid of everyone.
That's a good point. I have to tell you, I stopped watching the show when they had the first replacement.
I always just loved... Well, it's the most watched TV show in history, the finale.
That's true. But, I did watch that.
But I liked it that Radar had a gimpy hand. Like, I'm all for disability, right? Don't get me wrong. But the fact that once you find out that he's got the gimpy hand, the amount of ways they had to cover that up was outrageous. He was always holding a clipboard or a phone or something to hide his little tiny hand. And he was the first person they cast. Like, how good an actor must have he been to go, nah, we're going for it? gimpy hand guy. See, we had to audition someone to play muscular dystrophy for the pilot. And in the end, we got DJ Qualls, and DJ Qualls is the skinny kid off Road Trip and Hustle and Flow and all that type of stuff. Right now, the cool thing about DJ, and we've actually become friends, but the cool thing about DJ is he looks disabled. So that's like he's ready to go.
He does.
But in the beginning, because it was...
I love that's the cool thing about him.
Yeah, that's how he gets parts. Like, he's blessed. Anyway, so it was based on a real character from my childhood who had muscular dystrophy. Now, obviously, we couldn't cast someone with muscular dystrophy because of insurance and reasons like that, because they have a disease where they can't be manhandled or they can't work for long hours. So we sort of opened the web up to as many disabled people as possible. Like, we thought anyone who can't get laid and needs to go to a brothel with help, that's who can come in. That was like this thing for the... So we had all these disabled people come in, and look, to be honest with you, a lot of disabled people have given up on their acting dreams, so we were fairly limited at one stage to who would come in. And a lot of them, it's very hard when you're casting a disabled person to go, you can't act. Like someone who's dying, like going, you're not very good at acting, please leave, you know what I mean? Because you want to be... So we had person after person come in. Then we had this one guy come in, and he was so disabled, his body was like a pretzel, and he was just like, he did this audition, and he was so good, and we were like, that's our guy, that's who we got to use, right? So I helped him out, and I come back into the room, and I say to the director, I said, that's our guy, right? And he goes, yeah, he was great, we'll cast him. Then the next person who comes in, and the guy had a nurse and everything. I remember the nurse standing in the corner while he was auditioning, staring at me like I was evil for making him do this. Then the next guy that wheels himself in, and he looks like he's just a paraplegic, but we thought we could quad him up for the role. You know what I mean? Because paraplegic people can go to brothels by themselves, right? So I say, g'day, mate. And I go to shake his hand, and he slightly leans forward and almost like to stand up to shake my hand. And then he catches himself, and he sits back down. And I said, oi, Kiki, what's with your leg coming out? And he went, you got me. I'm not disabled. I just really wanted this role, so I rented a wheelchair. And I said, let me get this right, mate. You wanted this role so badly, you rented a wheelchair. Now, we were on a second story. I said, you carried the wheelchair up the stairs, plonked it into the waiting room next to the really disabled guy, and then you sat in it. And then he went, yeah, that's what I did. I said, can you get the hell out of here? You disgust me, right? I said, I can't believe you did it. So I kick him out. Then later on that day, we're going through all the headshots of all the different actors we want to use. We're about to call people up and say which actors we're using. And I look at the really disabled guy, and I'm looking at his headshot, and I'm going, geez. And then I'm looking at his resume going, geez, he's been in a lot of movies, right? I'm thinking, I don't remember any disabled person. And it clicks to me. He wasn't disabled either, right? That's mental. He hired a nurse. Like, the level of like, I'm all for madness when it comes into the arts. So I'm all for, like getting into character an hour early, being some wanker actor where you're like, and then it gets into character really. But after you finish the audition, stand up and go, da-da! Yeah. And we would have gone, that's very good. Well done, right? But I tell you, I'll tell you what you don't do, though. Don't make me carry you to your car. I carried him.
No, you didn't.
I'm not, I kid you not, down 2 flights of stairs as he was going, fuck you, Jim. And I'm like, I think you'll be hearing from us, right? I put him in his seat. I did the seatbelt up. His nurse drove away. They're probably just laughing at me now, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
That is great.
But this what actors all over Hollywood want to play disabled. That's what they want to do. It's like, just because that's how you win Oscars and stuff. Yeah. And that's how you get critical acclaim, is playing disabled. And I think, now that I've done a bit of acting, I reckon the hardest thing about acting is what to do with your arms. I think people overestimate acting, right? Because you can talk and walk and all that type of stuff, but then, like right now, I'm sitting here with my hands in my lap, right?
Okay.
Right, but when you're acting, you go, no one sits just like this, do they? So you sort of do a bit of this, and then you feel a bit stupid, right? Where if you're playing, like, say, cerebral palsy, I do this with my arm, and you jink it up a bit and you make it sway, right? So at least you know what you're doing.
Right.
Right? But people, they just throw Oscars at these people. and look, what I want to see is, the next Oscar I want to see is, I want to see a disabled person playing normal. I want to be watching some DVD extra features. Right? I want to be watching some DVD extra features and just a guy going, when Steven Spielberg called me, and I'll be like, you're kidding me! I didn't know that guy was retarded! He's such a good actor! Honey! Brad Pitt's retarded! No, he's always been retarded! He's just the best actor in the world!
The BJ Shea Morning Experience on 99.9 KISW.